Jason, ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Schultz here with you. Thanks for joining us. We have the latest updates for you from joint practices between your Seattle Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans. We've got a full report we'll go over in just a matter of moments. Also, we got a profile we'll do on Connor Williams, tell you what you need to know about one of the newest members of your Seattle Seahawks. We'll preview Saturday's matchup between the Seahawks and Titans, and we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well before we wrap up today's show. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. As you guys file in, shout out your city, and we'll shout you out. Let us know where you're watching from here on this fine happy hour Wednesday edition of Seahawks Today. We're checking in from the Chat Sports Studios here in downtown Dallas, Texas on this Wednesday. Thanks for being a part of the show today. Smitty's going to join me here in just a moment. Want to know where you guys are at, and we'll show you some love as we get this show started. Got people already checking in the chat. Ian already shouting out to Smitty. We got Scott saying, "Go Hawks." Our poll question today, we're asking you, since we're talking joint practices with the Titans, and we got plenty to talk about with Jamal Adams here. Are you rooting for Jamal Adams in Tennessee? 75% of you say no, 25% say yes. Ian in Auburn, Washington, Scott in Astoria, Illinois, Manny in Hillsboro, Oregon. I got Johnny in Mississippi, Space in Portland, Oregon. Got John in Napavine, Washington. Got Mario in Riverside, California. Let us know where you're at. We'll shout you out as we get this show off and rolling here. Got Michael in Edmonds. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks for being here. Will the Seahawks make the playoffs in 2024? What do you guys think? Y for yes, in for no. As Smitty joins me right now. Smitty, if you would have asked me this question prior to the Connor Williams signing, my answer would have been no. But as I've been very consistent in saying over the offseason, I think there's about a 50% chance that the Seahawks make the playoffs. And I think Connor Williams is the difference in one game that gets you in the postseason. So now my opinion's officially changed. I think the Seahawks are a playoff team in 2024. I'm typing Y for yes. What do you guys think? Y for yes, in for no. Smitty, now with Connor Williams into the fold, are the Seahawks a playoff team?
Oh, man. I would say yes. I think that they were very close on the fringe beforehand. I think
agree.
They're going to be that 7th seed in the NFC. I don't know if they'll win the division. I know there's dysfunction with the 49ers right now in training camp and the Brandon Ayuk situation, but I still think that they're a more talented roster, more experienced coaching staff, and a more experienced overall team than Seattle. But I think they sneak in the postseason, grab one of those final 2 wild card spots.
Space says yes. Manny says yes. Phobia says yes. Scott says hell yes. Mario says yes. Michael says yes. Ian says hell yes. Craig says yes. Jeff says yes. Scott says hell yes. Joe says yes. Got Johnny saying yes. C-Fan for Life checking in from Albany, New York, a.k.a. hell. You used to live not too far from there. Can you confirm? Is Albany hell?
Albany is not the most glamorous city in the world. I have a bunch of friends who went up to college at UAlbany, but I was about 2.5 hours out from the state capital in New York when I was growing up.
Okay, so Smitty confirms it's not quite hell, but not pleasant either.
The politics ain't great up there either.
C-Fed for Life says yes. Seb says yes. Strictly Business says no way we don't make the playoffs. Young 6 says yes. Francis says yes. Duh. Who is a player the Seahawks should add before the season begins? Yesterday, we had a video that went out that is doing very well, close to 20,000 views on the channel now, talking about potential trade targets for your Seattle Seahawks. Who is a player they should potentially add? Smitty, I
really don't know who's available. This is a tough question for me.
I would like Matthew Judon, but that feels like more of a luxury, not necessarily a need at this point.
Yeah, I mean, do the Seahawks really have, though, a top-end pass rusher like Matthew Judon? I mean, it would certainly be a luxury, but I'm not so sure that Boye Mafe, Uchenna Nwosu, I'm not sure that any of those guys will ever be, top 10 pass rushers in the league.
Like Judon, when he's healthy, is top 5.
Absolutely, and that's a guy who can kind of transform your defense in a sense at the pass rusher spot. It's going to be tough, but he obviously wants a new contract as well. Seattle would have to pay him after making a deal for Judon.
What do you guys think? Name me a player that you would like to see the Seahawks add.
Patrick Mahomes would be pretty good.
That'd be decent. Don't need him. Just roll with Gino.
Yeah, we're good. We'll roll with Gino.
He's pretty good on that one channel he's at, Chat Sports. They really like him over there. John says really like the idea of trading for Judon. Young Six says Judon. Phobia says linebacker or offensive tackle. Free Truth says this preseason showed some base improvement. Who is the player that comes to mind? Who would you like to see the Seahawks add? Let us know in the comments section. We haven't even got the Super Chat menu yet. Already got a Super Chat rolling in from a great name. A name that...
That's right, great name.
Smitty and I share with this fella. Tyler Holbert with a $5 Super Chat. That's the old McDonald song. We'll play that off here in just a second. If Seattle gets more help at defensive line, how far do you see us going this season? The defensive line's pretty good, as is. I don't see them investing in the defensive line. I think that they feel great about Leonard Williams. Byron Murphy looks fantastic so far to this point.
I think it has depth, too, to be honest with you. I mean, you bring in Jonathan Hankins.
Jonathan Hankins is a starting caliber defensive tackle, I think.
Yeah, you still have Jaron Reed, who's a starting caliber player. Obviously, you hope you can get improvements from Mike Morris, who has familiarity with Mike McDonald at Michigan. And then the edge rushers, obviously, as well, I think are a deep spot. You got Draymond Jones moving outside there. Uchenna Nwosu, obviously. Boye Mafe, we just talked about. So I think it's a really deep group. I don't think they have to go out really searching for much more unless, a high-end pass rusher is available to you like Judon is.
Yeah, if we're talking edge rushers, then that might be different. But pure, your down lineman?
Yeah.
No, I don't see that happening. But Tyler, it's a very good point. Thanks for sending that Super Chat,
man.
We'll
feature it in the mailbag later, too.
Yeah. Get your questions in for that mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. Super Chats get priority like Tyler.
Fact.
We'll sing you the old McDonald song as we get to our Super Chat menu for today.
That's right.
Old McDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. There you go. Thank you, Tyler. There is the Super Chat menu. For every $5 Super Chat today, we will sing you that lovely song. First-time Super Chatters, you get the Seahawks chant. $10 Super Chat, we'll take down some shots. We'll go to the Patron Zone. $25 Super Chat, we'll do a beer bong. $50 Super Chat, we'll get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. And the Emerald Club has made its return. We have a new boot this season. We put a grand total of, I think, 12 names on the boot in our watch party on Saturday. I would love to add you next. $100 Super Chat gets you a spot in the Emerald Club here on Seahawks Today. Every time we drink the boot, you'll be drinking with us. If we reach $200 in Super Chats today, that means we're doing a boot. And with this being joint practices, I felt it was only fitting today, Smitty, that if we reach $420 in Super Chats, a very specific number, then you and I will do a beer bong race.
Yeah, you guys can put the pieces together there.
I thought it was a perfect idea.
It's a perfect idea. I love it.
So,
joint practice.
If you want to blaze up with us, let's get to 420 today. Let's do a beer bong race between me and Smitty. So, and we'll get out the real beer bongs, by the way.
Yeah.
I know that when I do a beer bong, I usually do the Mrbonga. And I like the Mrbonga. But we'll do a real beer bong race. And hopefully I won't break a laptop this time if we get to $420 in Super Chats. So, that is what's on the menu today. $sign next to the chat box if you would like to contribute and take part in today's show. It is Wednesday. It is happy hour. Let's have ourselves a good time today. Let's go ahead and get the chat popping as you guys file in. Already over 100 people watching today, but there could be more. We need to do our part to help out the algorithm a bit.
Come on, 12.
Wake up. Pretend as if you're in Lumen Field right now. Spam S for the next minute. Smitty's going to shout out all the S's. Let's see who's with us today, and let's get more people on board to be a part of today's live show. So I'll get the S's started, and Smitty will get the shout-outs going. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Shout out to C-Fan for Life, by the way, who has a great question for the mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks. Who's typing S's with me? John Shipman typing those S's. Come on, chat. We need to get loud like Lumen Field in here. Jordan Northern spamming those S's in the chat. Come on. Free truth. John Shipman, I'm giving shout-outs to everybody who's spamming S down in the chat. Spoon Prods, John Shipman, Free Truth, Manny DR, Kyle Hodgson, C-Fan for Life, Manny DR, Free Truth, Space in the chat, Phobia in the chat. Shout-out to everybody spamming those S's right now, getting this chat live and popping. The more you guys are getting this chat popping and live right now, it's going to tell YouTube that we're having a party over here at Seahawks Today. We want as many Seahawks fans in the chat as possible. C-Fan for Life, Free Truth, Space, Spoon Prods, Ask John Clark, Kyle Hodgson.
20 seconds. Keep going.
Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up, Phobia. Chris Neslin, a.k.a. Smoke Hawk. Keep it up. Keep it up. Ask John Clark, C-Fan for Life, Chris Young 6, Robert Wiggin. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Let's go. 10 more seconds. Young 6, C-Fan for Life, Space, Chris, Young 6, Space, Jordan Northern, John Shipman. Let's go. You guys absolutely killed it in the chat.
Nice work. Who got the most there? Who's the early favorite for MVP? I saw Free Truth.
Free Truth was the guy there.
Free Truth.
Cooked. Dan the Man Miller in the chat.
Dan the Man. Good to see you, my guy. Your package should be on the way here soon. So be on the lookout for that, Dan the Man.
Let's go, Dan.
We'll see how long shipping takes. So be on the lookout for that, Dan. We'll get you covered. All right, if you're ready for today's show, we're at 31 likes right now. I got 115 people watching. I want to get to 50.
Let's get to 50 likes
to start today's show. And
I'll
like crack open
your shoes off.
I'll crack open a cold Miller Lite when we reach 50 likes.
It's like taking your shoes off when you're at somebody's home. You're a guest. It's a common courtesy. Take your shoes off. Hit the thumbs up icon. Help us get this stream out to more people.
50 likes and we'll begin today's show. Do your part. We appreciate it. And let us know when you like the video. We'll show you some love here on the show. While we wait on those likes, and I'll crack open that beer when we reach 50 likes, here is what's coming up on today's show. We have the latest report from Seahawks Titans joint practice. The first of two. We'll go over the full recap and analysis in just a moment. Also, we're going to take some time to get to know Connor Williams a bit and what exactly he's bringing to this Seahawks team. We got an in-depth profile that will get you here in just a bit. So stay tuned for that. Seahawks Titans preview. We will preview that game coming up later on, so be on the lookout for that. We'll go over the full analysis of that game, so stay tuned. And then we'll do a Q&A rumors mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. So that is what's ahead. Stay with us as we roll along here on this live happy hour Wednesday edition of Seahawks Today. The latest from joint practices coming up next. 50 likes were reached. Young 6 has the right idea. He says, crack open that beer. We did indeed. Cheers to you and all the 12s out there. Let's have a fun Wednesday here. Joint practices. Smitty, joint practices. We have, in our lifetimes, and I don't want to give away the stat because I'm going to get to it here in just a second, we have never seen the Seahawks be a part of joint practices. I know we weren't physically there, but reading everything we read, I'm glad they did this. It was very exciting from what unfolded, and can't wait to see what comes up tomorrow, too.
I'm honestly, jealous every year of all these teams that get to do joint practices. They get to have, real live competition, especially leading up to a preseason game where you're facing off against them, and there's scuffles, and there's storylines, and there's just things to pay attention to rather than just regular practice. It's fun, and I've been jealous that Seattle hasn't been able to participate for so long. Now they are, and we got a lot of storylines to cover today.
Yes, certainly indeed. Dan, I will email you right now, real quick. Dan, what is your size and address? Okay.
Don't put it in the chat now, Dan.
No.
Don't do that.
Dan, I just emailed you. We will we'll take care of that, I promise. All right, here is what's on the show today. Up next, let's talk joint practices now. The latest from day number 1. We'll break that down for you, then get to our Connor Williams segment, game preview, and then our Q&A rumors, mailbag, and more. All that ahead here on this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Let's get after it here on this Wednesday, starting right now. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we have an update from joint practices for your Seattle Seahawks in Nashville, Tennessee, as they squared up with the Tennessee Titans. As you could tell from this photo right here, the Seahawks had a pretty good visit the last time they were in Tennessee against the Titans. Got the win on Christmas Eve against Tennessee. Now, let's see how they stack up as both teams have brand new head coaches, Brian Callahan in Tennessee, Mike McDonald in Seattle. We will tell you everything we've learned from joint practices so far coming up in just a bit. Speaking of, with this being joint practices, I thought this was more than fitting to do this today. If you're excited about the Seahawks actually doing joint practices for the first time in my lifetime, more on that in just a second, spam 420 in the chat. I felt like this was only right to do. If you love the idea of joint practices and the Seahawks taking part in this finally for the first time in a long time, spam 420 in the chat. We'll get started with today's show. The Seahawks wrapped up training camp this past weekend. They held a practice back in Renton on Monday, traveled on Tuesday to Nashville, and began their series of joint practices with Tennessee today. The first one was on Wednesday. The second will take place on Thursday, a day off Friday, and then they'll have the preseason game on Saturday against the Tennessee Titans. And as a result of the joint practices, the starters will likely not see much playing time, if any at all, according to Mike McDonald, in the game coming up on Saturday there against Tennessee. And for folks at home, to provide context of how just rare this is of the Seahawks doing joint practices, this is the first joint practice that the Seattle Seahawks have been a part of since 1991. That's a long time, folks. So this is unusual territory, but it's refreshing. Smitty was talking about, and I totally agree, just a few moments ago before we began taping this segment, I see all these other teams doing joint practices, and I get jealous. Like, that sounds awesome. And now we get to see it firsthand. So with that, let's go ahead and get started and begin with Byron Murphy, because, of course, we're starting with Byron Murphy. It has been the summer of not just Jones, but Byron Murphy as well. He shined again at joint practices. He was great in the matchup against the LA Chargers on Saturday, and according to reports, he looked pretty good in the joint practices with the Tennessee Titans. Greg Bell of the Tacoma News-Tribune tweeting out the following this morning. Byron Murphy picking up here in Nashville like he did to the Chargers last weekend in L.A. Seahawks rookie defensive tackle swimming Titans offensive lineman Andrew Rochip and Daniel Brunskill with moves so quick they barely touch him during one-on-one pass drills. Man, I love to see that from Byron Murphy, just picking up right from where he left off Saturday. And now Byron Murphy, think about this. He began training camp when they released the depth chart as the Seahawks backup defensive lineman at the defensive end spot from that first depth chart that was released. And the way that he's been playing in training camp, in joint practices now, the preseason, if he keeps this up, it's going to be hard to not start Byron Murphy week one. I think that's the type of impact that he's putting together, the way that he's performed at this point, looking like an impact player and a difference maker for this defense. And not just when you talk about what he can do to get after the quarterback, but to stop the run as well. I like what I've seen from Byron Murphy so far. Let's ask you now, will Byron Murphy start week one for the Seattle Seahawks? Type Y for yes, in for no. Why in the comment section, let us know what you think. We're going to be live here on Seahawks Today this Saturday night for the second preseason matchup when your Seattle Seahawks square up with the LA Chargers. Don't miss out on it. Our coverage begins at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Kickoff at 4 o'clock. We'll be live with an hour-long pregame show, then react to the game in real time, have a party on hand. Big Tex is going to be here. You will not want to miss it. Subscribe now for free. Stay up to date with your Seattle Seahawks each and every day on the channel. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. We'll see you then. So one of the things that's interesting about these joint practices is seeing the ones take on the ones, because we don't always get to see that in the preseason. And Riq Woolen had himself a day on Wednesday squaring up against Calvin Ridley, one of the better receivers in the National Football League. And Woolen, it was his day. He straight up owned Calvin Ridley. I mean, Calvin Ridley was basically calling him daddy. I mean, like, that's how well he did facing Calvin Ridley one-on-one. This tweet coming from Feel Like Mafe, Shadow tweeting out, Calvin Ridley is just having a hard time getting open on to Riq Woolen, hashtag Seahawks, hashtag Tighten Up. It was a great day for Woolen on a really good wide receiver in Calvin Ridley. And what have we told you about Riq Woolen? That when it comes to man coverage, one-on-ones like this, last year there was no better corner in the National Football League than Riq Woolen. According to PFF, he had the best man coverage grade of any corner in football. And so for him to do this against a very good receiver in Calvin Ridley, to me, is not surprising. And it goes back to what we've talked about with Riq Woolen, of that he's looking to have a bounce-back season. That after a down year last year, he's trying to get back to form from his rookie season. I think he'll even be better than what he was as a rookie. And the tackling, which was an issue last year, that's something he's worked on. He's put an emphasis of improving, and Mike McDowell's been after him about it. I think you're going to like the results from Riq Woolen, or from Riq Woolen here in 2024. Do you believe in Riq Woolen? Are you all in on what he could potentially do for this Seahawks team this year? Type B for believe, D for don't. Weigh in, let us know. Number 3 on our joint practice takeaways, Jamal Adams, former member of the Seattle Seahawks, was squaring up with this Seahawks team. Also Quandre Diggs, of course, former member of the Seahawks, both in Tennessee now. And Jamal Adams was a little fired up, and things got chippy a bit going up against his former teammates. And here's some of the reports that went out on what Jamal Adams was exactly doing there. This tweet says the following: "It's just like we expected. Former Seahawks and current Titans player Jamal Adams stoking the flames, yelling, 'You ain't ready,' to the entire Seattle sideline." Greg Bell saying this: "Jamal Adams wrestled Seahawks linebacker Kenneth Walker to the ground on the first play of 11-on-11 here in Nashville and let his former teammate know it was him. Then he didn't play much after that. Hasn't practiced much so far at Titans camp, which, what I'm told, has been generally soreness." Imagine that. And then our friend Bob says the following: "No fights yet, but more than a little talking from Jamal Adams. He led a charge off the bench to celebrate at midfield when a Titans gunner beat a blocker to get in position to blow up the returner there." Look, typical Jamal Adams, right? All talk and no action. This guy does a lot of yapping, but the results aren't there. And if I'm the Seattle Seahawks, I know that there was whispers about Jamal Adams potentially coming back to Seattle and playing the linebacker position, but he wasn't down for that. He didn't want to be the pass rush boy, is what his agent said. And I got to say, just seeing that, it was a reminder to me, yeah, I'm glad Jamal Adams is gone. I'm glad that we don't have to deal with that anymore, that here he is yapping. He's injured. He's not on the football field much, doing all that talk, but no results to back it up. I mean, it's typical Jamal Adams. I'm glad he's the hell out of here. And today was just another example of, man, what a relief it is that Jamal Adams isn't a member of the Seattle Seahawks. Who is a winner from Seahawks Titans joint practice? We've talked about a couple names so far. Got a couple names that we'll talk about as well before we wrap up. Weigh in, let us know in the comments section. Give me a name that comes to mind that is a winner. We got Byron Murphy jerseys on sale now. Chatsports.com/Murphy. Add a 9 to that 1. And we have men's and women's options. We have the home jersey, road jersey, alternate uniforms as well, and free shipping available. Go to chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours now. Let's talk about George Holani, the UDFA, who the Seahawks signed from Boise State, is competing to make the Seahawks 53-man roster, played very well in the first preseason game, and as a result of his efforts, he has been rewarded with first-team efforts, folks. First-team reps, rather. Here's more from Bob saying the following: "George Holani has consistently worked with number one offense, along with Kenneth Walker, Kenny McIntosh with the twos, so maybe a little depth chart change. Charbonnet is not practicing." So to me, that's interesting. That tells me that we have a legit competition at this spot for Seattle when it comes to this RB3 position. When you look at McIntosh there, when you look at Holani, McIntosh, of course, we didn't see a whole lot of last season with the injuries that he dealt with, and Holani's come in. He's played pretty well, so a good mix between these two. And, you know, who knows? We don't know for certain if the Seahawks are going to carry 3 or 4 running backs on this roster, but at the very least, you have legit depth. You have competition for this role. Iron sharpens iron. Competition makes people better. So for me, I like it that both these guys are competing hard. May the best man win. What's your confidence level in these Seahawks running backs? Scale it for me 1 through 10. How you feeling about this group? Weigh in and let us know. Last on this list, let's talk about Devon Witherspoon. And as much as we've talked about Devon Witherspoon this offseason, as good as he's been, today was not Devon Witherspoon's best performance. He struggled a bit. Sam Phelan, who covers the Titans, had this to say. Seahawks cornerback Devon Witherspoon saying, "I'm trash, man," repeatedly after getting beat by Titans wide receiver Kearius Jackson in one-on-ones. Look, sometimes it's your day. Sometimes it's not your day, and that's fine. Devon Witherspoon had one bad practice, and it happened to be in these joint practices. Personally, I'm not worried about Devon Witherspoon having one down day because we know that Devon Witherspoon's going to be good, that he's going to have a big season, he's going to turn things around. So I'm not overly concerned. It's human nature. He'll be fine. Folks, thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today with the latest from Seahawks Titans joint practices. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means you're a real one. And by the way, before we sign off on this one, Smitty, go to me full screen real quick. For those of you wondering, since you made it to the end of today's video, you may be asking, what's with this shirt? Well, I had to salute my guy, Dale Earnhardt. Raise hail, praise Dale. This is a Dale Senior Classic. Damn, I'm good. I'm feeling good. Seahawks are feeling good. Hope you're having a good day, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. All right. So that's one segment down. 3 more to go. Let's talk about Byron Murphy now. Will he start week 1? Why for yes, in for no? What do you guys think? Smitty, it was going to be tough just considering the competition, but the way that Murphy has picked things up and come along now, it's going to be hard to hold him back at this point. I would think that there's a good chance he's starting week 1 now.
I mean, with the impression that he's made in game action and in practice with another team here, how could you not start him? He's kind of forcing your hand here, telling you that he's the most talented defensive tackle on the roster, and then you should play him like he is.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm in. What do you guys think?
What do you guys think? Will Byron Murphy start for the Seahawks week 1? Why for yes, in for no?
Ian, you can still ask it. Use #Seahawks. You can still ask that question, my man.
Ian, we can still put that in the mailbag. No problem there. Let's see. Randy says yes. Ian says yes. Orazo says yes. So everybody seems to be on the same page that they want Byron Murphy to start week 1. Let's go over the next Super Chat. A $20 Super Chat from Dan the Man Miller. Good to see you, Dan the Man. He says, you think there will be any fights at joint practices, namely from DK LOL? Well, there was no fights today. It did get a little chippy, and it came very close. So I'm very curious if that will carry over to tomorrow. I won't say yes, but I wouldn't rule it out. In fact, Smitty, selfishly speaking, I kind of hope there is a fight tomorrow.
I agree. I kind of hope there is a fight tomorrow. I think you need to get a little chippy before the season starts so you don't end up taking it out on the field when the regular season comes around.
And if there is a fight, I would think that it's a pretty decent chance DK's involved too.
Yeah. Usually a winner in those fights too. Usually he's a good scrapper when it comes to getting his hands dirty.
All right, so we'll go to the Super Chat menu after that Super Chat, as I owe Dan the Man Miller 2 shots.
And we got another one coming from Phobia.
Yeah, we'll get to Phobia here in just a second. Dan, I'm going to go straight from the bottle with these 2 shots. We're going to the Patron Zone. Here's the first. First one's always okay. It's when you get second and more that it starts to get a little dicey.
Yeah.
Dan, second shot to you. Everybody spam Dan in the chat. Cheers to Dan. Go Hawks.
Matthew, we got your question in the database here. Appreciate you.
Oh, I feel like Anderson Cooper on New Year's Eve. Goodness.
Yeah.
Dan, thanks for that Super Chat, and much appreciated. Phobia with a $5 Super Chat. That's the old McDonald's song. We'll pay that off here in just a second.
Yep.
With the extra cap money we have, would it be wise to save it for the trade deadline in case of injuries? Well, Smitty, you're about to have more cap space in a bit when you get the 53-man roster cuts. I think if there's somebody you want, whether it's via trade or free agency, you just go ahead and take care of that. You just get them right now and not wait for the trade deadline. Make your team better now and then reevaluate things when you get to the trade deadline.
Those games before the trade deadline come around could be very valuable, win or loss, when it comes to the end of the season and you're fighting for one of those last couple wild card spots in the NFC.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if you see a deal that you think can make this team better right now and you're okay with giving up what it takes to get it, then go make the deal. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Pretty simple as that. Phobia, thanks for the super chat. Much appreciated. We owe you the Old McDonald song. We'll pay it off here.
Here we go.
Old MacDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. Much appreciated. Thank you, Phobia. Rest of the super chat menu, in case you want to be like Phobia and Dan and send in a super chat today. First time super chatters, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 super chat, we'll sing the Old MacDonald song. $10 super chat, we'll take down some shots. $25 super chat, we will do a beer bong. $50 super chat, we'll get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. The Emerald Club is back. That's our Hall of Fame here on Seahawks Today. We have a brand new boot, and we went with the throwback logo this time. I like this. A little bit different for the boot. We haven't done this. $100 gets you a spot in the Emerald Club, and you'll be drinking with us every time we drink out of the boot. If we get $200 today, then we'll do a boot. We're at $30 already for today's show. And with it being joint practices, it's only fitting. If we reach $420 in super chats collectively, then we will do a beer bong race between me and Smitty. So stay tuned for that here on the program. Up next, let's talk Connor Williams now, as we'll get to know Connor Williams a little bit further and go into detail on what exactly he's bringing to the Seahawks. We'll also preview the Seahawks matchup with the Tennessee Titans coming up later, and then a Q&A mailbag. Get your questions in using hashtag Seahawks or super chatting to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Without further ado, let's talk more about Connor Williams, one of the newest members of the Seattle Seahawks. We will break down what he brings to this Seahawks team here on this live edition of Seahawks Today, beginning in just a moment. Hold on a second, folks. Yeah, good call. We will talk about Connor Williams and what he's bringing to Seattle right now here on Seahawks Today. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. The Seahawks shook up the NFL and pulled off a highway robbery with the discount deal they put together to bring Connor Williams to Seattle. We will explain what exactly is going on with the Seahawks, what they have in mind for Connor Williams, what his role will be, and how much of a difference he makes to this Seahawks offensive line coming up on today's show. Before we do, all week long, we are in a sub-battle with our Titans channel. We're seeing which of the two channels can gain the most subscribers this week, as we are closing in on 54,000 subscribers here on the channel. And we're going to be live doing a watch party coming up this weekend. We want to prove why we have the best fans in the NFL. We don't want to just win on the football field. We want to win off the football field as well. Subscribe now for free. Join the family of 12s today. Be a part of our daily news and rumors here on the channel. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. Subscribe now, and we'll see you for a watch party coming up on Saturday night. Let's get to know Connor Williams a little bit more. The 2018 second-round pick out of the University of Texas, previously played for the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins. And what are the Seahawks getting? Well, they're getting one of the best of the best. I've said this previously. I'll say it again. I think he's the top 5 center in the NFL, and he's got the grades to back it up. Pro Football Focus gave him the highest grade of all interior linemen in the National Football League last season with an 86.5 overall grade, and that's among guards and centers. And this is somebody that has experience playing both center and guard. Mike McDonald has already said that he will play center for the Seahawks, as Olu will be the backup center with Laken Tomlinson at left guard, and then you still have a fight going on at that right guard spot. But here's the deal. This is why the Seahawks pulled off a highway robbery here, folks. A player of Connor Williams' talent. I know he's coming off a torn ACL and all, but even with that said, you got one of the best players at his position. for only $6 million, and only half of that is guaranteed. There is no risk involved with this move, which is just unbelievable to me. If, for whatever reason, Connor Williams doesn't get healthy and continues to be banged up, all it does is cost you $3 million. This was a steal. And personally, I think that this makes Seattle a threat. Before all this, we were talking about this Seahawks team being a borderline playoff team. I think this situation now, adding Connor Williams into the fold, let's say you were going to be about a 9-8 team, for example, okay, which is what you were the last 2 seasons. Connor Williams, if he's healthy, is at least worth 1 win. That puts you at 10-7. That puts you in the bowl game. All right? That changes things completely for the Seahawks team. Mike McDonald had this to say when it comes to Connor Williams. We have a pretty good plan in place now. He'll be with the sports performance folks for the next week or so until we get him full speed for practice, but we're shooting for either Cleveland week or the week after to get him out here practicing. And the plan for Williams is to be ready for week 1. I know that you'd like to have him practicing and potentially in that Cleveland preseason game, but all eyes are going to be on week 1. And his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, was very adamant when he was being shopped in the free agent market. Connor Williams is healthy. He's ready to go and can play week 1 for whatever team he ultimately ends up signing with. And that hasn't changed since he's come to the Seattle Seahawks. That's still the plan in place. Connor Williams gave an update on his health this week. He said, I feel great. I'm probably about 95%. I'm getting there. Strength's getting there. Pretty symmetrical, honestly. And so I think we're just devising a plan to slowly work back and slowly give me on the field. I think that he meant to say get me on the field, but you get the idea. But Connor Williams, to kind of give you perspective, is a whole lot further along than Abraham Lucas is. We still don't know when Abe Lucas is going to be out there, if he's going to be back in time for the season. We're pretty certain here that Connor Williams is going to be ready to go when this season starts. So, folks, I'm excited about Connor Williams. I can't wait to see what he does. Now let's ask you. I got a question for the folks that we'll get to here in just a second. But a reminder, join us for our watch party coming up on Saturday for the Seahawks matchup with the Tennessee Titans. We'll get things going 3 p.m. Pacific time for our hour-long pregame show. And then we will have the game to follow. We'll react to it in real time. You won't want to miss it live right here on Seahawks Today. Let's ask you this question. Will Connor Williams play for the Seahawks week 1? Y for yes, N for no. Is he going to make it? Are you buying in to what people are talking about here? Do you take everything with a grain of salt? Do you believe it? Is he playing? I think he is. Weigh in, let us know. Now, adding Williams to the mix, let's be clear. It improves the offensive line a lot, but it doesn't solve everything at this point. But it makes you feel a whole lot better about where this group is going. If you look at the Seahawks offensive line right now, the last updated depth charts that we have for you, we're going to put Connor Williams at that starting center spot. The right guard spot is still a competition between Anthony Bradford and Christian Haynes. We'll see who ultimately wins that job. Abraham Lucas, if he's healthy, he's starting at right tackle with George Fant behind him. Laken Tomlinson in there at left guard, Charles Cross at left tackle. We'll see if Charles Cross takes that next step up this year. That remains to be seen. Laken Tomlinson, what version are you getting? Are you getting the version that we saw with the Jets that struggled last year, or are you getting the Pro Bowl guy that we saw in San Francisco in 2021? Anthony Bradford, Christian Haynes, who's going to win that battle, and who's going to play at a high level? Some big question marks still. But here's kind of perspective, folks, as far as the difference that Connor Williams made. Because I know some of you are thinking that you wanted Olu to get his shot. You wanted Olu to be that guy. But let's simmer down for a second. Olu's good to have as a backup, and I'm sure he'll still see the field. Because according to Pro Football Focus last year, the Seahawks had the 29th ranked offensive line in the NFL. Towards the bottom. They were just atrocious last year. And for more perspective on it, here's what Pro Football Focus said on their 29th ranking. Injuries muddy the evaluation of Seattle's offensive line. The regression of Seattle's 2 second-year offensive tackles, Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, also has to be concerned for Seahawk fans. The Seahawks tied for fourth worst pass block efficiency in the NFL after suffering 229 pressures on 365 pass plays. And then taking that a step further. So if you thought things were bad this year, before the Connor Williams signing, Pro Football Focus rated all the offensive line in the NFL, and they were even worse than what they were at the end of last year. They were the 31st ranked offensive line prior to signing Connor Williams. We haven't seen an updated ranking, but you'd have to imagine that number's going to go up quite a bit. Williams will make a big difference for this Seahawks team. Doesn't solve everything, but you add a top 5 center, one of the best interior linemen in football. Now you're feeling a whole lot better about this situation, and Olu didn't go anywhere. Sure, you moved on from Nick Harris, but I mean, my goodness, everybody's going to take Connor Williams over Nick Harris. It's not even close. What is your confidence level in the Seahawks offensive line right now? Scale it for me 1 through 10. How you feeling about this group entering 2024? Weigh in and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Enter promo code Seahawks125 for a 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit. Here's how it works, folks. Let's say that you buy a pizza. And with BetUS, you're getting an entire pizza and then another slice included with that first bet you make on BetUS. Here's the odds for this weekend's game between your Seahawks and the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, slight favorites at 1.5. The over-under at 35.5. Folks, I told you this earlier. I'll say it again. When it comes to betting the preseason, always take the under on the preseason. Under 35.5 is how I think this goes. Get your bets in now. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Seahawks125. For that 125% deposit bonus. Williams is almost ready to go. And the ACL surgery, talking to his doctors and all that, he has progressed much faster than initially thought. The idea about a month ago was that whoever Connor Williams signed with, that he would be available mid-season. Now here we are, and we're talking about him playing week 1. So this is going along very nicely. Connor Williams had this to say on the ACL surgery. Obviously, Dr. Cooper did a great job, and I followed his progression with it. You're walking without a crutch 2 months out. You're jogging 3 or 4 months out, and then you're slowly ramping up things from there. Mike McDonald saying this on Connor Williams. I'm excited to see Connor come out here and do his thing. Haven't seen him live yet with us, and I think we have a great plan for him, and we'll see where he's at in a week or so. So I told you that I think that Connor Williams is at least worth 1 win. That much of a difference to this team. And I was already taking the over. I had the Seahawks at 9 wins. The over-under, according to the folks in the desert, is at 7.5 for your Seahawks. Hammer the over, folks. Get ready, get excited. The Seahawks are the team that nobody's talking about, that they should be talking about, that's going to take a big step up here under first-year head coach Mike McDonald. Predict the Seahawks record this season. How will things go? Now that Connor Williams is a part of the mix, how much of a difference does that make for this Seahawks team? I say 10-7. That's my prediction. What do you guys think? Get your predictions in now. Weigh in and let us know how you think this goes. 10 wins, you're sitting in the postseason. You're sitting at least the 7 seed, maybe the 5 or 6 at that point. Get your predictions in now. Let us know. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. Make sure to join us for our watch party coming up on Saturday night. We'll begin at 3 p.m. Pacific time with our hour-long pregame show, then dive into the game shortly to follow after that. Seahawks and Titans right here on Seahawks Today. We'll have continuing coverage over the next few days, getting you set for that one with more from joint practices. Also, what's going on with the latest news and rumors on your team. Any breaking news that happens, we got you covered. Subscribe now for free. We'll see you next time. All right. Halfway home, up next is our Seahawks Titans preview. And then we'll get to a Q&A mailbag. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Predict the Seahawks record this season. I got Brent saying 9-6, Space saying 10-7, Matthew says 10-7. Shefferton says 9-8. We did get a big super chat while we were in the middle of the segment. We'll get to it here in just a moment. Smitty, what say you? What's the record prediction for you for the Seahawks right now?
My record prediction, and don't kill me, I think they get in the playoffs with it. I think they go 9-8 again. I think it's a fairly successful season, especially transitioning to a whole new coaching staff, whole new system on both sides of the football. I like 9-8. I think they sneak into the playoffs with that record.
9-8 from Smitty, 10-7 from me. Get your predictions in now. Brent says 9-8. Shefferton says 9-8. Space says 10-7. We got a $50 super chat from Richard Fox. Bang! Richard. Everybody spam Richard. Spam Richard in the chat. Richard Fox.
Let's go, Richard.
The real Riq Fox.
Yeah.
Check it in.
Not that fraud ex-Laker.
No. The real Richard Fox. Richard Fox, good to see you on Seahawks Day, man. It has been a minute since we've seen you, but much appreciated, my guy. Thanks for sending that in. That's a beer bong that I owe you. Or actually, that's Seahawks sauce, rather.
Seahawks sauce. Get the grenade.
We'll get the grenade out. Get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. Here it is. Right there. I will drink accordingly. Everybody spam Richard in the chat. Our first Seahawks sauce of the day. Every $50 super chat, we'll get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. Richard, you're halfway from a spot in the Emerald Club, our Hall of Fame here on Seahawks Today. Brent says Big Fox Energy. That's right. Everybody spam Richard. Let's get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. Cheers to you, Richard.
Big Fox Energy. Cheers. Teacher taking down the Seahawks sauce for that $50 super chat.
Oh, there we go.
Bang.
Bang. That's for you, Richard. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, Richard. And that puts us at $85 for the day. So we're about $115 away from Das Boot here. Still got a ways to go to get to $420 for a beer bong race between me and Smitty. Because it's joint practices, we thought it was only fitting to have a beer bong race here in today's show. Daniel with a $5 super chat.
What up, Danny Max?
We'll include this in the mailbag. I personally don't like the Jenkins signing, and he's not playing like a starter. With Cody playing great, do you think Cody will beat out Jenkins? I think he means Kobe.
I think he means Kobe, yep.
Slow down on Rayshon Jenkins. That's my guy. That's my guy.
This is seems like a personal attack.
This does. Right here. This does feel like a personal attack. I like Rayshon Jenkins. Rayshon's a quality starter in this league. He was a turnover machine last year in Jacksonville. No, he's not going anywhere.
I haven't really heard much about how he's been performing in training camp and practices.
But, Smitty, I will say this. You can play both of them. In fact, this Mike McDonald defense prefers to have three safeties out there, and that's one thing we're actually going to talk about in this game preview here in just a moment, is that Kobe Bryant's got a chance to earn playing time to be that third safety where he doesn't take away from Rayshon Jenkins.
You could also always play a guy like, Kobe Bryant in the box in a sense because he's a good, he's a good tackler. Obviously, a guy like Julian Love has shown the ability to play in the box as well. So, you could throw some different nickel and dime looks out there where you have a third safety down low, or you could play three up top as well. So, there's a lot of possibilities. Mike McDonald is a defensive wizard. I'm sure he's going to find a way to effectively put all the safeties where they need to be.
So, Daniel, thanks for the super chat. We will sing you. Let's sing the DK song this time. Change it up a bit. Every $5 super chat, Old McDonald song or DK song.
Remember the Mike Mac chomping.
Mike Mac chomping, yes. Although I haven't seen him chewing any gum, but maybe that'll change. Here we go. Chomping, Mike Mac chomping. Geno passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day. He rules.
Shout out to you, Daniel.
We're at $85 right now. First-time super chatters get the Seahawks chant. $5 will sing the Old McDonald song. $10 will take down some shots. $25 will do a beer bong. $50 will get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. And if we reach 200, we're doing a boot. 420, we're doing a beer bong race for joint practices. It was only fitting. We're at $85 right now.
Hey, Board Skyler, I like that question a lot. Put it in the mailbag by adding hashtag Seahawks to it, and we'll add it to our database.
We still need some more questions, right?
Definitely still need some more questions. That's why I got the lower third down below. So you guys know, hashtag Seahawks to get on our next mailbag video. And if you send in a super chat with a question, that is automatically on the mailbag video.
There you go. Without further ado, let's get to our next segment. Seahawks Titans preview. I got 5 things to watch for from the Seahawks matchup with the Titans. We'll go over that here in just a bit. And then we'll get to our mailbag segment, hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat, to get on the mailbag portion of the show. It's time! Seahawks, Titans. Which one of the announcing brothers say it's time?
Oh, that's
which one of the Buffer brothers?
It's Robert Buffer, right? Is that his name?
You got Michael.
It's Michael.
Okay.
Oh, no. Sorry. Michael is, let's get ready to rumble! And then Bruce is, it's time!
I love when they bring one of the two of them out for non-fighting events.
Yeah. They had Michael Buffer out there for the Home Run Derby.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so I remember seeing that. I was like, oh, kind of electric.
Nothing screams Arlington, Texas like Michael Buffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Without further ado, let's get to our game preview segment, Seahawks and Titans. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get to our Q&A mailbag afterwards. Right now, let's preview this game, and we'll get going from there. Jonesy and Smitty here with you on a Wednesday afternoon. Yep. Game preview time starts right now here on Seahawks Today. It's game time, folks. Your Seattle Seahawks set to take on the Tennessee Titans in preseason week number 2. These two teams very familiar with each other. Not only did they play last year in the regular season on Christmas Eve, but they've been involved in joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. Now we'll get a look at how the two stack up in live game action. The starters for the Seahawks not likely to play much, if any at all, according to Mike McDonald. And with that, the Titans are slightly favored, a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 35.5 for this one. If you want the Seahawks to beat the Titans, I know it's a preseason game, but we want to win every time the Seahawks take the football field. I don't care if it's Pop Warner, if it's the playoffs, regular season, preseason, whatever it may be. We want a Seahawks W. Spam the like button. Hit the like button. Don't jinx it. If you want a Seahawks win today, do your part. If we get 500 likes, that guarantees victory. Don't jinx it. Don't be the reason why the Seahawks don't win because you didn't like today's video. Do your part. We'll get started with today's show. What to watch for? Number one, let's start with Sam Howell. More Sam Howell, folks. Sam Howell got his first start with the Seattle Seahawks last week after an up-and-down training camp. And to his credit, he did a really nice job last week. He impressed, and in particular, I liked what I saw from him in his running ability, his way to escape pressure and be on the move. I was impressed with what he did, and that's totally different than what we see from Geno Smith. Geno's not a mobile quarterback. Sam Howell is. And especially with the concerns on this offensive line, I thought it was a nice asset that Sam Howell brought to the table. Sam Howell had this to say on his running ability that he brings to this Seahawks team. I think that's definitely something that I've always kind of done my whole career is, especially on third down, is I can try to make some plays with my feet. I think that's just a part of my game. It's something that whenever I'm out there, I'm going to try to use, especially on third down, especially when they're playing man coverage. When they're playing man coverage, there's a lot of room to run the ball for the quarterback. When we get man coverage, obviously trying to throw the ball first, but I know there's good opportunities to run the ball as well. The numbers from Sam Howell last Saturday included 16 completions on 27 attempts for 130 yards and a touchdown. And personally, I think he shut down any discussion of a competition for that QB2 spot. P.J. Walker didn't play that great, although he didn't get to play with the twos like Sam Howell did. But Sam Howell showed me enough where he's not replacing Geno anytime soon, but he's not getting passed up by P.J. Walker either. Let's see him play consistently. Let's see more of that running ability and pick up from where he left off last week. Let's ask you now, Will Sam Howell be the Seahawks QB2? Do you agree with me, or do you think it's somebody else like P.J. Walker? Weigh in, let us know. Y for yes, in for no. Is Sam Howell the QB2 or not? We will be live on Saturday night for the Seahawks matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Our coverage begins with an hour-long pregame show at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be live for the entire game. Myself, Big Tex. You will not want to miss it right here on Seahawks Today. We'll have post-game coverage to follow as well. Join us coming up on Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Sub for dubs. You want that win? Sub it up. Number 2 on our list of what to watch for the Seahawks. Let's talk about the RB3 battle. And you look at the guys that the Seahawks have here. Kenny McIntosh, his second year, didn't see pretty much any of him as a rookie in 2023 as he was banged up. 7th-round pick out of Georgia. And then you got George Holani, the undrafted free agent running back out of Boise State. Both of them had good showings last week in the win against the LA Chargers of what they were able to do in the run game. And we've heard Ryan Grubb say previously that he wants his running backs to be good receiving backs, to be able to be used in the screen passing game as the Seahawks are looking for their third down back options. And both these guys looked like they're capable of potentially filling that role. And you may be saying, well, Kenny McIntosh hasn't done anything to lose that RB3 job. Well, in joint practices this week, George Holani got first-team reps. Kenny McIntosh did not. This is going to make for some tough decisions. Are the Seahawks carrying 3 running backs? Are they carrying 4 running backs? And will it be these 2? And who is going to get that number 3 spot? Phil Goals wrote this on the situation. Stats don't tell the story of blocking and pass protection. These things were a bit of a concern for George Holani coming out of Boise State, but he held up the defense just fine. Kenny McIntosh didn't fare as well and may have even played a part in 2 sacks taken by Sam Howell, but it's early, and this has been a small sample size. So with that might be the difference. Although both of them ran the ball well, Holani was much better in pass pro last week than Kenny McIntosh. So the stats don't show that, but it is worth noting that could be a potential difference. Here's the numbers on both guys last week. McIntosh, 8 carries, 40 yards. Also had 2 catches for 1 yard. Holani, 6 carries, 24 yards. Had 2 catches for 6 yards in the performance on Saturday night. So now let's ask you, who will be the RB3 for the Seahawks? Are you rolling with Kenny McIntosh or are you rolling with George Holani? Type KM for Kenny McIntosh. Type GH for George Holani. Weigh in. Let us know who you think that guy should be. Number 3 on our list of what to watch for your Seattle Seahawks, the Byron Murphy Show. It's Byron Murphy's world, folks. We're all just living in it. He has been fantastic so far, from training camp to now the live preseason games to the joint practices. He's looked great. And I want to see more of it. I want to see Byron Murphy continue what he started and prove why he believes he should be a starter week 1 for this Seahawks team. And we've told you previously, we'll continue to reiterate, Mike Macdonald was pretty hard on Byron Murphy throughout the offseason and has pushed the hell out of him. And now we're seeing Mike Macdonald give Byron Murphy his flowers, which kind of shows you how well Byron Murphy is performing when Mike Macdonald's been tough on him the way he has. Macdonald said this on Murphy last week. Yeah, it was great to see him make a couple plays, first game action. He was all juiced, and the guys were excited for him, so that was cool to see. He had a tackle for loss last week, also a tackle, made a difference in the run defense. It was a very good outing for Byron Murphy. Let's see more of it this week. Today's show is sponsored by BetUS. BetUS, the place to go for our sportsbook partner here at Chat Sports. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, enter promo code Seahawks125, you will get a 125% deposit bonus on your first deposit. The odds for this game on Saturday, the Titans, a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 35.5. Get your predictions in now. Are you going with the Seahawks or are you going with the Titans? What bet are you making? Type S for Seahawks, type T for Titans. Let us know who you got in the comments section here on today's show. Up next on What to Watch For, let's talk Kobe Bryant now. Kobe Bryant's next step. Kobe Bryant started his career with the Seahawks as a corner, made the transition to safety last year, and was banged up for most of the season. And this has been a process for him, learning this safety position. And last week was the first time we finally saw Kobe Bryant play the safety position really well. I loved seeing him get in on that action, and he's not replacing Rayshon Jenkins or Julian Love anytime soon, nor should he. But we know Mike McDonald wants to run 3 safeties, and he's making a strong case for why he should get involved, of why they shouldn't go sign another safety, that they should play him as that number 3 safety in those 3 safety sets. Kobe Bryant had this to say on the move to the safety spot. I'm embracing it pretty well. Each week I'm growing. I set myself up with goals to attack each week, what I need to work on, what I'm improving, so just the little things. He had the interception, big play, also had a pass breakup, good outing for Kobe Bryant. Let's see more of it from Kobe Bryant going forward here. Show some love to Kobe Bryant. Spam 8 for Kobe. It's his Kobe year. Show some love for Kobe Bryant. I love that he wears the number 8, and his name's Kobe Bryant. Get in there in that chat. Show some love for him here on today's program. Last on our list of what to watch for your Seattle Seahawks in their preseason game on Saturday against the Titans is Derick Hall and Derick Hall's progression. Derick Hall did not show you anything as a rookie in 2023. And now, throughout training camp, he's taken some huge steps forward. And last week was a solid outing. It felt like a breakthrough for Derick Hall, that he's finally coming along into the player that we anticipated, that we were hoping to see. And you look at the edge rusher spot. Draymond Jones is now a part of the mix, joining Uchenna Nwosu and Boye Mafe. Darrell Taylor, we've seen a lot of rumblings about him potentially being moved here. There's a big chance for Derick Hall to have a significant role. And if he keeps playing like he's been playing, then you're looking at a good shot for him to be a part of that rotation and be a key contributor there to the Seahawks pass rush and more. Derick Hall had this to say recently on gearing up for year number 2 here with the Seahawks. He said, I feel like everything that I want to do is going to fall into place. As far as the defense goes with this scheme, I don't think there's a limit. I think Mike does a pretty good job of putting everybody in position to be successful, to go out and make plays and play 12 as one. That's our motto around here, 12 as one, and be one cohesive group and go out and do whatever it takes to win. So he's clearly got the right mindset. I love the whole 12 as one thing. Last week, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack. When we were on the watch party last week, me and Smitty, I think we both jumped out of our seats when Derick Hall had that sack. Like, finally something. Let's see more of it. Predict the score. What's it going to be? I think we're looking at a low-scoring game as these preseason games go. Give me the Seahawks. I'll say 17-10 is my score prediction. What is your score prediction? Weigh in. Let us know. If you enjoyed today's show, you know what to do. Like the video. Like it for a Seahawks win. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you later on here on Seahawks Today. All right. So, one more segment to go. It is our mailbag segment. Hashtag Seahawks Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. But let's hear from you. What is your prediction for the Seahawks and Titans game coming up on Saturday night? Who wins? What's the final score? Smitty joins me right now. Smitty, what do you think here for this game?
I kind of got taken aback actually during the video, but I'll give you a score prediction. Give me Seattle 17, Tennessee 10. So actually hit the under. So it's 17-10 Seattle.
So you're taking my pick.
Yeah. Did you already say that?
I did say that.
Oh, I was zoned out because I'm pretty sure Matthew Judon is being traded to the Falcons right now.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
I was wondering what was going on there. Matthew Judon to the Falcons is the new report. Let me catch up on this here.
Yeah. Ian, we didn't get any Super Chats from you, my brother.
Ian, I didn't see yours come through. I didn't see it either. Yeah. Here it is. Jordan
Matthew
Schultz
Judon.
reporting that the Patriots are close to finalizing a trade that will send Judon to the Falcons. The deal is in the final stages and expected to be finished soon. That Falcons team, I think they're winning the NFC South. And now you just got a premium pass rusher. That's a good move, I think, for Atlanta.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that is not always available to you every day. A premium pass rusher. Falcons got a good little squad now. The defense still has questions at a couple spots, but I like the offense. And if you add Matt Judon to anybody, he makes a big old difference.
I'm glad we got that video in yesterday.
Yeah, and it's already done it's already done very well, so.
Yes. Thank you for the views, Matthew Judon. Hope you enjoy your time in Atlanta there. What is your score prediction? 17-13 Seahawks, says Ian. Rick says 24-10 Seahawks. Matthew says 24-17 Seahawks. Javid says 10-3. I think some of these score predictions, Smitty, are a little too high. People are we forgetting it's the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of 3-and-outs on Saturday, guys. Like, there's going to be a lot of punts. We're going to see a lot of Michael Dixon. And just one of those situations where it's bad football. It's bad football, and that's why there's not very much high scoring. Yeah, Seattle's not going to have too much in the scoring column in this game, and neither is Tennessee. So keep those predictions low.
Yeah, get your predictions in now. Who wins and what's the final score? Ian, yeah, I never saw your super chat come in. We always do a good job keeping up with those and putting them on screen, but I never saw yours. So no worries about that. Ian, thanks though. If you do send in another, we will make sure to get it on screen. But I never saw it come through. Did anyone else see Ian's super chat? I never did. Emerald City says 13-3 Seattle. Chefferton says 16-10 Seahawks. Free Truth says 17 points to the Seahawks. Last chance to get in on the mailbag segment.
Yeah, we need some questions.
Let's see. Ian says his payment went through. Ian, what were you going to say? We can still try to find a way to put you on screen. Use hashtag Seahawks. We'll still put you on screen with whatever it was. But I don't think your payment went through because the number didn't go up on us for the amount in Super Chats today, Ian. But I appreciate the effort, though. Tom says the 17-3 Hawks. Emerald City says 13-3 Seattle. Dan the Man Miller says 9-6. Continue to get those predictions in. Still need some questions for the mailbag. I am putting a minute on the clock. This is your last chance to get on the mailbag segment. We need what, about 3 questions?
Yeah, I think so.
About 3 or 4 questions. And then we will get this mailbag segment started. Minute on the clock. We'll go to the Super Chat menu while we're waiting here on these questions.
Super Chat gets you locked in, by the way.
Free Truth. You didn't use hashtag Seahawks. That's an @ sign. Hashtag Seahawks. We can't put it on the show unless you use hashtag Seahawks. First time Super Chatter, you get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, we'll sing the old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take some shots. $25 Super Chat, we'll do a beer bong. And a $50 Super Chat, we'll do the Seahawks sauce. We get to 200, we'll do a boot. What happens, Smitty?
Don't check your noties. I want you to guess. What was the trade package that Atlanta sent for Matthew Judon?
I'm going to say a 4th and a 5th.
They got 3rd.
A 3rd?
Yep.
I'm shocked I got a 3rd for him.
Yeah, I mean, with him, you know.
He's 31.
And he's got to get paid. 3rd round pick.
That's a lot. I'm surprised. I am surprised.
Day 2 pick for Matt Judon. Let's go. Good for them.
The Patriots need all help they can get. That is wild. Trayman says, I hear people in the background. They good?
Yeah.
It's Trace.
Trace is watching virtual New Orleans Saints players score touchdowns.
He's still doing Madden Sims?
Mm-hmm.
Goodness. We ended our Madden Sims like 3 weeks ago.
I know. Petey's did one yesterday, too.
People, my goodness. We're not doing any more Madden Sims unless there is some type of request involving a Super Chat.
Yeah. It has to be a big old Super Chat because that takes a lot of work.
It does. With that said, here's the Super Chat menu, by the way. First time Super Chat to get the Seahawks chant. $5 Super Chat, old McDonald's song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take some shots. $25 super chat to a beer bong. $50 we'll do Seahawks sauce. Got to get to 200 to get to a boot. We're 115 away. 420 today, since it's joint practices, we'll do a beer bong race between me and Smitty. So I do see free truth. Hashtag what is not a thing. Hashtag Seahawks. I don't know how many times I need to say it.
Chief for 10's good question. Yeah, I think we got enough.
All right.
We got enough.
So, with that said, you need something?
Matt Judon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crazy.
All right. Mailbag time.
Not a Seahawk.
Not a Seahawk, sadly. But thanks for the views, Matt Judon. You
played your role.
You played your role. You got us. Let's see. How many views in that video now?
20.
18.8K, so close to 20K. So shout out Matt Judon. He will not be a Seahawk, but, we said in the video, big trade soon. Well, there was a big trade, just not us.
Wasn't to the Seahawks, yeah.
Maybe that means Hassan Reddick's going to be a Seahawk now.
Yeah, I like that.
I'd rather have Hassan Reddick anyway. Hassan Reddick, you are a Seattle Seahawk.
Younger? Cheaper? No, probably not. Not, but I'd rather have the player Matt Judon.
And he was traded for a third-round pick.
Yeah. The Jets got fleeced on that deal because he's not going to play for them because they're not going to pay him.
All right, mailbag time. Let's get to it. Our final segment before we wrap up and call it a day here on this Wednesday afternoon. Jonesy and Smitty here with you. Mailbag segment starts in just a moment. Let me adjust my headset here. All right, now we're ready to go. Here, final segment starts right now. You got questions, we got answers. It is time to touch our bags and drop our sack on this mailbag edition of Seattle Seahawks today. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. This mailbag segment comes from our Wednesday live show where you guys submit questions to us in real time. We react to them. And you may be wondering, how can I be a part of your next mailbag show? Well, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, set them to all, and you'll be the first to know when we have new content here on Seahawks Today, whether it's a watch party, a live show, a rumors video, breaking news, you will know when we have that new content out. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, stay up to date. If you're part of the Noti Gang, those are the folks that have their notifications turned on. Spam Noti Gang in the comment section. We'll get started with today's show. Tyler, great name, writes in, if Seattle gets more help at defensive line, how far do you see us going this season? Tyler, thanks for that $5 super chat. Much appreciated. I don't see them getting more help. I could see them potentially getting another edge rusher. But as far as pure down linemen, I think they're going to roll with what they got. I think that right now the Seahawks are about a 9 or 10 win team. I think they're looking at going to the playoffs. But if they invest in a big-time edge rusher like a Hassan Reddick type, then who knows? Maybe it's 11, 12-plus wins potentially. But I think they're going to roll with what they got. They'll be about 9 or 10 wins. Tyler, thanks for the super chat. Phobia with a $5 super chat writes in, with the extra cap money we have, would it be wise to save it for the trade deadline in case of injuries? Well, here's the deal, Phobia. When you look at the regular season, the wins week 1 to the trade deadline count the same as the wins from the trade deadline to week 18. So if I'm the Seattle Seahawks, if I'm John Schneider and Mike McDonald, if there's a player out there that I want, I go get them now. I'm trying to stack up wins, stack those pennies to begin the season. I'm not waiting around till the trade deadline to make this team better. Now, you could still reevaluate things, and maybe you make a move at the trade deadline, but I wouldn't be waiting around. I would try to put your best foot forward when the season starts right away, as far as I'm concerned, Fulvio. But it's a very good question. Daniel writes in, I personally don't like the Jenkins signing, and he's not playing like a starter. I think he means Kobe Bryant here. With Kobe playing great, do you think Kobe will beat out Jenkins? First off, this feels slanderous to me because I have been a fan of Rayshon Jenkins ever since he signed. I thought he was a natural fit for this Seahawks team. He's a turnover machine. We saw it there in Jacksonville. I think he's going to do a great job as one of the starting safeties. I think he's going to have a similar season what Julian Love did last year. So, Daniel, I don't know what you're talking about as far as benching Rayshon Jenkins goes. It's not happening. But as far as Kobe Bryant goes, as we told you earlier this week here on the channel, I think that the Seahawks, Mike Macdonald, wants to play 3+ safeties at times in this Seahawks defense. And then that would open up a role for Kobe Bryant potentially in this Seahawks defense. So that's what I see happening. I don't think Rayshon's getting benched, but I think there's a potential opportunity for an expanded role for Kobe Bryant. He looked good in that first preseason game. If he continues to play like that, then yeah, you'll see more Kobe Bryant as far as I'm concerned. Gino Truther writes in, all I hear about is Devon Witherspoon. Do we need to simmer down expectations a bit? Well, he kind of had a reality check on Wednesday in joint practice where he struggled. It wasn't his day, but it's not always going to be your day, right? Devon Witherspoon, I think, is a fantastic football player. I think he's going to have a great year once again. And no, I disagree. I do not think we should simmer down expectations. I think when we talk about him being a captain and a defensive player of the year contender and one of the best corners in football, all of that is up for discussion. He's Mike Macdonald's favorite player. He's become the leader of this defense. And think about this. Those numbers that you see on your screen right now, he did that in 14 games. He's made it his goal. He's made a point. He wants to play all 17 this year. So Devon Witherspoon, that's another year older, that's got his eyes set on playing in all 17 games. Sky's the limit for this guy. I think he's the best player on this defense. What do you guys think? Is Devon Witherspoon the best player on this Seahawks defense right now? Y for yes, in for no, weigh in. Let us know. Do you agree with me that he's the best player, or do you think it's someone else? Let us know in the comments section. All right, next one from Board Skyler wants to know, do you think Byron Murphy has the chance to get Defensive Rookie of the Year when he doesn't typically get flashy stats? I appreciate you guys. Skyler, we appreciate you. Now, I'll say this, Board Skyler. Winning Defensive Player of the Year as a defensive tackle is very difficult. It's much easier to win Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, that is, when you're playing edge rusher or, if you're playing defensive back. It's a hard award to win as an interior defensive lineman. So as much as I like Byron Murphy, and I have high hopes, I think he's going to have a great season, I think that it's going to be hard for him because the stats aren't going to be comparable to some of those other guys out there. So, no, I don't think he'll win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he can have a very similar season to what Jalen Carter did last year in Philly, which I would gladly take. But Defensive Rookie of the Year, it's an award at the end of the day. It's not going to define him. This is a long-term thing. I want him to go to Pro Bowls. I want him to be an All-Pro. I want him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year down the line. So I'm not going to lose sleep whether he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year or not. I just want to see him play at a high level. So, no, I don't think he will, but I think he'll play good. Brian Bosworth, the Boz, says, how important is Leonard Williams to this team? Did the Seahawks overpay him? So that's been an ongoing talking point that I've seen from Seahawk fans for much of this offseason. Did they overpay Leonard Williams? Did they overpay Noah Fant? And my answer is no, they did not, because they have to live with this of the trade they made to trade for Leonard Williams, giving up a second and a fifth. There was no going back at this point. You made a decision that you had to pay Leonard Williams, that you had to do whatever it takes to keep him in town. So I think he's crucial. I saw an article this week talking about that he's got a chance one day, I kid you not, to be a Hall of Famer. I think he's still got a ways to go before that discussion, but it's not completely impossible. And the money, it's just the nature of doing business in this league. That's what the Seahawks signed up for. So, no, I don't think they overpaid him. He was one of the best players in the Seahawks defense last year. Remember, he played one more game in the regular season than everyone else did in the National Football League. The first player since 1930 to play 18 games. That's stability. That's durability. Leonard Williams, I'm excited about what he's got this year. Did the Seahawks overpay Leonard Williams? I don't think they did. What do you think? Type HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Get your responses in the comments section. Got a great deal we're offering. We mentioned Byron Murphy earlier. We got his jerseys on sale now. Chatsports.com/Murphy. Men's and women's options Got the home, the away, the alternate throwback uniform. Just add a 9 to that one. Go to chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Free shipping available as well. Chatsports.com/Murphy. Got time for about 2 more questions here. Chefferton writes in, do you think people are underestimating the strength of the Hawks' schedule this year? The Pats, Jets, Falcons, Cards are all vastly improved teams from last year. I think the Pats are not improved. I think the Pats are much worse, and they just lost Matthew Judon. Falcons are improved. Cards are improved, but I don't think they're that great. And think about this. The Seahawks are facing, I think, almost every rookie quarterback. I know J.J. McCarthy's out for the year, but they face Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb Williams, and among others. I think the schedule's very manageable, honestly speaking. And you look at the first couple of weeks, playing teams like the Broncos and the Patriots, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the schedule. I think the thing that worries me is not even so much the teams, it's they have not won but 2 Thursday night games this year. That's what's not fair, is having to play on Thursday night twice and how that messes with your schedule and your routine and all that. So for me, I think the schedule's manageable, but with that said, I think they'll be okay. I think they will be okay. JZ Vids with the last question this week says, do you think DK needs to prove himself to be a top 10 wide receiver this year? And if he doesn't, should we start looking for a trade? I mean, what is it we're wanting more of from DK? He's getting 1,100 yards every year. He's getting about 8 touchdowns every year. His yards per catch is solid. The only thing I really want to see him do different is not get called for personal fouls. I want to see him contain his emotion a bit. It's the other guys. Like, we need JSN to step up. We want a little more Bobo. We want Noah Fant to step up. DK's not a problem. I have no problem paying DK. I think DK's fine. It's the other guys that I want to see more of. Just, kind of reel it in a little bit, DK, and I have no problems paying you for many years to come. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now. Got a watch party coming up on Saturday night. We will see you then. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great day. All right. So we are just about done with our show for today. We have about we'll put about a minute on the clock. We get a super chat of any amount. I know that Ian was saying he had a problem sending super chats, so this will be a test to see if super chats are working. If we get a super chat of any amount for the next minute, we'll keep the show live, keep things going. If not, we'll sign off. We'll call it a day. We are 115 away from a boot. Still a ways to go from the beer bowling race if we reach 420. But here's your last chance. We can keep the show going. We keep on partying, but it's up to you guys. 1 minute on the clock before we sign off and call it a day. Smitty rejoins me right now.
You.
Smitty, final thoughts as we're kind of wrapping up here on this Wednesday. Where do you want to go here?
Well, excited to see another day of – excuse me, I'm having the worst acid reflux right now.
First it was the hiccups, now you got acid reflux?
This is all stemming back from that night.
Really?
Yep. I need to get some medicine or something because it's hurting my breathing. I can't my entire chest and stomach is so tight.
The 12's got to you.
Oh, the 12's got to me so bad. I'm still hurting from Saturday night. So
you got hawk disease.
Yeah, I got hawk disease. It's nobody should want hawk disease. It's not fun. But I'm very excited to see another day of joint practices. I hope somebody cracks Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
I want somebody to crack Jamal Adams in the head. Obviously, don't lead with your head, but shoulder pad will do.
Okay. Are you rooting for Jamal Adams in Tennessee? Our poll question today. 355 votes. 72% of you say no. 28% say yes. I will join the no's as well and be a part of that. So there you have it.
No, we're not rooting for Jamal Adams around here.
No.
We're an anti-Jamal podcast.
No. F Jamal.
Show. I listen to too many podcasts.
I mean, it's still technically a podcast, too. Spam F Jamal in the chat. We'll see if they crack his skull tomorrow. Yeah. That'd be wild if that's the case.
Crack that Guardian cap. Although Jamal Adams is probably too stupid to wear a Guardian cap.
The Guardian cap in practice, Makes a ton of sense. I think it looks ridiculous to wear in games.
Is it mandatory in practice? Because everybody wears them now.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's
I
mandatory.
know that teams have the option to potentially wear them in games. Gino's talked about wearing it in games this year.
I think I've heard Jonathan Taylor talk about wearing them in games as well. That's crazy. That's going to be a culture shock. I mean, football is starting to look a lot more different every single year. I mean, this year specifically, you're bringing in Guardian caps and a massive change to the kickoff. Football's changing.
I've played a little bit of the new Madden the last couple days, and it's taken me a minute to get used to this new kickoff.
It's crazy. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but I know they're prioritizing player safety, and that's something you.
The hard part I'm adjusting to is clicking to a player on kick coverage, and then he just can't move.
Yeah, he can't move. Yeah.
That's wild. Especially when you go back and forth with the college game, too.
Oh, yeah. Very happy that the college game is keeping the kickoff the same, but it's only a matter of time until that changes, too.
Yeah, I think that'll change next year.
Probably.
Guys, we'll sign off. Thanks for joining us. Fun show today. More coverage coming all week long. Make sure to join us coming up Saturday night, 3 o'clock Pacific time. We will see you then. For Tyler Smith, I'm Tyler Jones. Have a great night. So long, everybody.